Northerly breeze bringing that cold feel. We've got high pressure dominating our weather, that northerly wind moving in around that high pressure, and a cold front will push through the country. That will just introduce clearer skies to much of northern England as well as Scotland throughout this evening. Cloudier skies across Wales, southwestern England as well as parts of Northern Ireland. Here temperatures will be held up above freezing, but it's across much of Scotland where we're expecting a frost by Tuesday morning. So another cold start to the day on Tuesday. But there will be more in the way of sunshine throughout tomorrow. At first, just across many north and western areas. You can see that frost on the screen there. It may last through much of the day on Tuesday. A bit more cloud, though, as we look further east. A few showers as well moving in off the North Sea, particularly across northeastern areas of England through Tuesday morning. Northern Ireland seeing a fairly dry start to the day. There'll be more in the way of cloud as we look further west through Tuesday morning. And you'll notice here a few showers through the English Channel. Some of these could clip the southwest coast as we head into the afternoon, but it should remain largely dry throughout Tuesday and more in the way of sunshine, particularly as we head into the afternoon. But we hold on to that northerly wind, that cold feel across many eastern areas through much of the day. So it will feel colder than it actually is here, but in the sheltered sunshine it won't feel too bad. There's more sunshine to come into the rest of the week as well, but it will be a very cold start to New Year's Eve. Quite a widespread frost is expected. That could take much of the day to clear up, but there, as I said, there will be more sunshine. However, a few showers will move into the far north and west of Scotland as we see more unsettled weather and potentially some snowy weather arriving to start 2026. Bye-bye.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
This is your chance to become our biggest cash prize winner to date. £85,000 in totally tax-free cash could be making its way from our bank account to yours. It would be like having over £7,000 per month extra to play with each month for a whole year. That could be you, safe in the knowledge that 2026 is on us. For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead. We love Great Britain. We love its history, its culture and its tradition, and that's why we're so proud to be part of GB News.
You look genuinely emotional. Oh, come here.
GB News does pay attention to those who are ignored by the mainstream media. The majority of this country whose forefathers fought and died to maintain liberty, to fight for freedom of speech.
The rule of law, the rights of property and democracy. This is the heritage that our country should be so proud of.
Which of course includes our Christian heritage. There's been a huge resurgence in the number of people going to church. Perhaps they're not finding what they're looking for, and they're looking for something a bit deeper, a bit more truthful, a bit more akin to Britain's Christian heritage.
That's right, get ready, because the most exciting night in general election history starts now!
It's 9 p.m. I'm Patrick Christys. Tonight.
And can I start by raising the case of Alaa Abd?
Yes.
As the Prime Minister knows and has said, he's a British citizen, jailed for the crime of posting on social media.
We need to detain and deport Egyptian crackpot Alaa Abd and...
waiting for months, years sometimes, for judgments that never come. Will our cases never end, forgotten by the world outside the prison walls?
all the thick, lovey left-wing celebs who campaigned for him need to apologise. Also, 15.5 billion quid of taxpayers' money a year on civil servants. Are you a civil servant?
Yeah.
Do you think we get value for money?
No comment.
Taxpayers not have a right to be asking questions? Nigel Farage vows to strip pensions from civil servants who approve asylum claims from known sex offenders, and...
And 2.5 million last year. We're just wondering where the kids are.
Yeah. Hello, we'd like to ask where the money's going. Look at that. Shut us down.
Somali daycare centres might be responsible for the biggest fraud in American history. The details are absolutely astonishing. I'll bring them to you. Plus...
This was the charter of the land, and guardian angels sang first rain.
Yeah, the Imperial War Museum removed 200 Victoria crosses to make way for a trans exhibition. Also, find out why the battle of the sexes in tennis that saw Nick Kyrgios beat the women's world #1 has been widely criticised. On my panel tonight, we have got broadcaster Christo Foufas when she arrives, which will be moments from now, Reform UK candidate Orla Minahan, and journalist and broadcaster Benjamin Butterworth. And very, very, very serious story, this indeed. Anthony Joshua has somehow survived a deadly car crash in Nigeria. Just a deeply, deeply devastating situation there. And in other news, can you tell me what's going on here? Get ready, Britain. Here we go. In just a sec, I'm going to mono on those stupid woke left-wing lovies backing an Egyptian extremist. But in Mar-a-Lago, President Trump has been speaking with the Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu. Here's a short clip.
A lot of good things are happening in the Middle East. We have peace in the Middle East, and we're going to try and keep it that way. I think we will be very successful in keeping it that way. And you've been a great friend, and I've been a great friend to you and to Israel, and it's been my honor.
Well, good evening. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas. I've been champing at the bit, so let's get stuck in. Idiotic virtue-signalling left-wing lovey celebs should publicly apologise for campaigning to get the racist, anti-white, suicide bomb and police murder advocating Egyptian crackpot over to Britain. Alaa Abd el-Fattah was banged up in Egypt, which is exactly where he belongs. Here are some of his social media posts. I'm a racist, I don't like white people. He called British people dogs and monkeys. Talks about the random shooting of white males. I seriously hate white people, he says. Police are not human. They don't have rights. We should just kill them all. He advocated for killing Zionists as well as civilians and said a suicide bombing would be acceptable if it took a few Zionist lives. But a load of thick-as-mint celebrities called for him to come to Britain. Some of them even did stupid little videos, lovingly reading out an essay this random Egyptian bloke wrote from prison. Here is actress Olivia Colman.
Thousands of miserable creatures in Torah prison, waiting for months, years sometimes, for judgments that never come. Will our cases never end, forgotten by the world outside the prison walls?
Here's a load more of these lefty-lovey mugs doing another video about him.
Prime Minister Starmer.
Dear Prime Minister Starmer.
Dear Prime Minister Starmer.
Dear Prime Minister Starmer.
Prime Minister, I'm making this video because I, like a lot of people, and I should imagine yourself included, are deeply concerned.
Dear Prime Minister, I'm reaching out to you today because I'm extremely worried.
I am one of many thousands in Britain and all around the world who are deeply concerned about the fate of the writer Alaa Abd el-Fattah.
The brilliant, courageous and inspiring writer who has been unjustly imprisoned in Egypt for far too many years.
You've got Brian Cox there, Bill Nye, Joseph Fiennes. Dame Judi Dench jumped on the bandwagon. She wanted him brought to Britain. There she is. My favourite, though, is actress Emily Watson addressing Sir Keir Starmer.
And I know that you have, in the past, been on the phone on his behalf. But please, now is time to make good on your promise to do everything you can to bring him home. And, well, really, before it's too late, we need to save Layla's life and we need to bring Alaa home. Please, please, please do what you can and do it now. Thank you.
Looks like a right mug now, doesn't she? They all do. Bring him home, they say. He doesn't even class himself as British. In his own words, quotes, I am far from British. There you are. Look at that. I am far from British. This bunch of Guardian-reading lefty theatre dwellers have probably been emailed a pre-prepared script by their agents and seen what they think is a poor, persecuted ethnic minority man. They sit around in their multi-million-pound houses, jetting between London, the south of France and Hollywood, swilling Dom Perignon by their fire pit, and take a break from talking about how well little Cynthia and Rupert are getting on at boarding school so they can lecture us about human rights abuses. And it's backfired, hasn't it? Because they've exposed the fact that they know absolutely nothing about anything. Now, I look forward to seeing this. Olivia Colman on Would I Lie to You? True or false, I once called for an anti-Semitic man who said white males should be shot at random to be allowed to live in Britain. Yay, fantastic. What I want to know is this. What consequences will these lefty-lovies face? Rylan was basically cancelled for saying that we give too much free stuff to illegal immigrants.
This is the narrative we're being fed. Here's the hotel, here's the phones, here's the iPad, here's the NHS in reception of your hotel, here's 3 meals a day, here's a games room in the hotel, have a lovely time and welcome. And then there's people that have lived here all their lives that are struggling.
Yeah. Cancelled. Oh, can't have him on again. Piers Morgan left ITV after criticising Meghan Markle. Nigel Farage lost his job at LBC after criticising Black Lives Matter. Graham Linehan lost jobs because he thinks there's only 2 genders. So what happens to this lot of thick thespians for backing a bloke who is now having to apologise for saying he would like to use a drone to kill people at a wedding? I think they should be made to publicly apologise. They should be made to do a video where they read out that guy's tweets about what a racist he is. If there was any justice, they would actually lose work over it. If there's one good thing to come out of this Alaa Abd el-Fattah debacle, it should be that these horrific left-wing celebrities go back in their box and stay there. Let's get the thoughts of my panel. We are currently joined by Christo Foufas and Benjamin Butterworth. Reform UK Councillor Orla Monaghan is on her way. Christo, I'm going to start with you. What do you make of these lovely celebrities? Should they apologise? Should they do some kind of public video about it?
Well, I mean, it would be nice to see them giving as much publicity to their regret over all of this as they did to advocating and campaigning. But let's be honest, they're all a bit thick, aren't they? They're probably sort of handed this by an activist or by their publicist, like you said, to read this out because it will make them look good. And no one around them, none of them actually thought, do you know what? I wonder if we should just do a little bit of due diligence and check who this person actually is that we're advocating for. Now, perhaps you can't blame them for that because, frankly, successive governments didn't do that either. But it really does go to show the hypocrisy of some of these people because actually, look at Emma Thompson, of course. She is, on the board and advocates for various charities that want to see fair play and a lack of human rights abuses. Well, I would say that advocating for the murder of white people is bordering on a human rights abuse. Olivia Colman does all this work for Amnesty International as well. Doesn't she advocating for us all to be much kinder to each other and all of this stuff, when in actual fact she's advocating for someone who's been horribly anti-Semitic and is bordering on extremism. So it's too delicious, the hypocrisy around all of this. But, of course, nothing will happen, nothing will change, because, of course, if you are hypocritical on that side of things, you get away with it. If you're hypocritical on the other side of things, criticising Black Lives Matter or defending Lucy Connolly, well, then you are cancelled. That's the way it is.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose the one good thing to come out of this is no one's ever going to listen to these Hampstead-dwelling, virtue-signalling, wokerati celebrities ever again about anything, are they? Because they clearly don't know what they're talking about. They just get spoon-fed some tripe and then dish it out to us. It's probably to make themselves feel better about their own privilege.
Well, I can only dream of being a wokerati that's also Hampstead-dwelling, so I wish to aspire some of these people. Look, the fact is that if repeated foreign secretaries and senior civil servants hadn't clocked that he had posted these things before that he held these views, then I don't know that you can expect Bill Nighy to be better briefed than William Hague, for example.
But shouldn't he bother, though? See, look, I get what you're saying, absolutely, and this is ultimately a failure of government, don't get me wrong, successive governments. But it's very easy to stand there and jump on, I'm going to sound like the opposite of Keir Starmer here, the latest woke bandwagon. To stand there and say this is, oh, let this poor bloke back into the country. Actually, you don't know anything about him. You don't have a clue about him at all, do you? And they've just exposed that about themselves.
I mean, what's extraordinary is that they didn't figure this out, given that whoever found these tweets found them immediately after he was cleared from prison. So it's quite shocking that that failure happened. But I think the real mistake is him having been given UK citizenship in 2021, because that is what now creates the problem we have. Now, should you remove someone's citizenship because of completely unacceptable tweets, but they haven't been through criminal prosecution? Well, no, because that's a ridiculous way to run a country. But should he be criminally prosecuted? Should the police investigate? Yes, absolutely. And then maybe you have the grounds to do it.
And by the way, just before we came on, I thought I'd do a little quick search on Emma Thompson's statement, Bill Nighy's statement, Olivia Colman's statement, just to see if they've said anything. Not a word.
No, of course not. But this is the point, isn't it? So to come back, so Rylan was basically cancelled for saying but pretty much absolute fact. In fact, Ryland didn't go far enough about the amount of freebies that we are giving to illegal migrants. You know, in parts of Oxfordshire, they get free driving lessons, for example. There's parts of Croydon, an illegal migrant can learn to become a nightclub DJ, right? So he didn't go far enough there. He just mentioned things like iPads and NHS appointments. That was it. Calls for him to be cancelled forever. But according to this, if you advocate for a racist, questionably murderous individual to come to Britain and stay in Britain, then that's OK if you are a left-wing celebrity.
And you are right to focus on the double standard. I would like to see a situation where if someone says something wrong, then fine, maybe they go through due process, maybe they can apologise and we can move on. So, just like Lucy Connolly, I think it's really important that we are able to do that. And if you are moronic, and you are moronic in your youth, if you show some sort of contrition, that we move on. But the difference is the double standard, that if you do it on one particular side of things. Rylan was just doing his job, by the way. Rylan wasn't giving his own personal opinion. Rylan was saying there is a perception that these are the freebies. Oh, my word, you would think that he'd actually gone out and killed a migrant, the way in which people reacted to it.
Yeah, so come on. So surely these celebs should do the decent thing and say, look, we got it wrong. we're really sorry, we didn't do our due diligence on this guy, and we apologise massively.
And we need to be more careful in future.
More careful in future, yes.
Well, they probably should. Well, they definitely should be more careful in future. But I don't think you can justify them being responsible for the situation when they didn't have the full facts, and neither did the government itself. And also, it's total exaggeration to say that Ryland Clark, who was literally never off the airwaves, was cancelled.
Well, they called for him to be cancelled, that's what I said.
He wasn't cancelled. He wasn't cancelled. And actually, I think surely it's you calling for cancel culture in this situation by saying that these celebrities should have those consequences. Those celebrities aren't responsible for our borders.
Ryland was wrong to make that point that he made when he was on this morning talking about people worried and people thinking that there is a perception that migrants get lots of freebies.
I don't think he was wrong because he wasn't actually giving his opinion. He was challenging the guests, which is the role of a presenter.
Do you think the reaction to him was wrong?
Well, I think people are concerned about demonising migrants and making them feel unwelcome in the country.
Do you think the reaction to him was wrong? Do you think those people saying that he was completely wrong and that it was completely barking mad for him to be saying all of this, do you think that reaction was wrong?
Saying that it could be offensive, that you shouldn't demonise migrants is fine. I wouldn't say he should be fired. I'd never say that. Right. He was doing his job as a journalist. But neither should Olivia Colman.
But this is what they do, right? So we've had them jump on the thing about, like, you know, free Gaza. Then we've had them constantly...
Were you all right there? I thought you were just clearing your throat.
Yeah, no. And then we've had them with Extinction Rebellion. Was it Emma Thompson flew business class, wasn't it? On British Airways.
Yes.
And then had a little summer holiday on a diesel-guzzling jet yacht off the coast of somewhere south of France, or Monaco, Italy, wherever, take your pick. Nice, isn't it? You know, so they've done the environment stuff, they've done Gaza, and then now we've got this guy, right? And it turns out they actually know naff all about anything. They just sit there next to a fire pit with little Dom Perignon on the side, don't they? Going, what worthy cause can we get? And now I've got a theory about why they do that. It's because a load of them are actually really posh. A load of actors are super double posh. But everything given to them, they are essentially Nepo babies, a lot of them. They feel guilty about that privilege. Then their job entails people following them around all day when they're on set, making sure that they get every single thing they want all the time. And some little bit inside them, it gnaws away at them, and they feel a sense of guilt, which is why they have to occasionally pop up and make themselves feel better about themselves by backing a random Egyptian nutter.
Also, knowing that what they are advocating for will not actually affect them in any way, shape or form. So, for instance, if you are advocating for more rights for refugees, right? Yeah. Well, that's great. If you're a genuine refugee, I think everyone would agree that really someone genuine from a war-torn place, fine. But a lot of these people say, look, we should have far, far more sympathy for people who come over on boats. Well, you're not going to be affected by the higher cost of housing that's going to... you're not going to be affected by the infrastructure that's going to end up not being able to be, the lack of NHS places, the lack of doctor's appointments. You have no effect to higher taxes. None of that affects you.
So when the next election comes around, and all of these celebs, I reckon, do a very similar video, but it's about the threat that Nigel Farage poses to Britain. The threat of fascism, the threat of anti-Semitism, because he might have said something to a pupil in 1981, right, when he was at school, OK? When they do that, OK, can we just play these clips to them and go, what you've actually done is call for a bloke who, by the way, can I just say, in the last few minutes, or the last hour or so, this guy who's done the apology, el-Fattah, he's done an apology, in the last few moments, he's gone on Facebook and he's liked a post that says all of this stuff about him is just a Zionist conspiracy theory, right? So they've let this guy in... Random killings of white people, jokes about suicide bombings, taking a drone to a Zionist wedding, just killing people, OK with killing civilians, kill police officers. They've advocated for this guy, so they have lost every single argument going forward, ever, haven't they, about what's good and virtuous in the world? Sure.
No, and actually, I think you said the quiet bit out loud right there. You made it clear that the reason you're attacking these great British public figures is because you don't want people to listen to them when it comes to the election. These people will stand up to the kind of bigotry against immigrants and minorities, that is why these are incredibly popular, successful British actors, and people listen to them, and you're scared that people will continue to listen to them. That's the truth. Why should they listen to them? This is my point. Why should you listen to them? What kind of sage wisdom are you getting from Bill Nighy, Olivia Colman, all these people? I mean, Stephen Fry climbed on board with all this as well. Loads of people did. I mean, bless her, Dame Judi Dench. I feel a bit sorry for Dame Judi Dench. She's a national treasure. She's been used. She's been used by the free Alaa
Alaa Brigade.
They had an information deficit that the government itself, it happened, had. But, you know, these people are fantastic actors, they're great success stories, and we should admire them. You are trying, you are guilty of cancel culture.
None of them came out backing Lucy Connolly.
Yes,
and no, because she's a convicted racist.
Or any of these other people.
But this person who has basically sent out those horrific tweets, you wouldn't call them a racist?
Yes, I would.
So you have to be convicted to be a racist?
They're a racist, and I said at the start of the discussion they should be charged with that. They should be pursued.
Why haven't they backtracked and released a statement saying that they are wrong on that? So firstly, and secondly, don't you think that once they've made a massive mistake like this, their credibility when it comes to elections in the future or calling out fascism, perhaps that's shot just a little tiny bit?
No, because if you don't tell the government...
Their credibility is not shot.
I don't rely on Olivia Coleman to be briefed better than the Foreign Secretary. It's an absurd argument. And I'm afraid I'm the only person here that makes sense. I think that this person is clearly a racist, this Egyptian-British guy, and so clearly is Lucy Connolly. And the fact is, I don't think either of you would criticise Lucy Connolly, so there's the hypocrisy.
Can I just say on this? I think they should be made to read out his really racist tweets. They should. I think they should sit there. We should see, right, back in the summer garden around Greenwich, you go, Emily Watson, sit around there and just read out his tweets. Stare down the barrel and read
like
out
the essay,
his tweets.
like the essay they did
like
for
the
him.
Essay.
Do it like that.
Do it like that.
Oh,
and
that would be lovely.
Then see how you feel about it. Yeah, no, seriously. Then see how you feel about it. You know, I'd be up for watching that. But anyway, a government spokesperson has said Mr. el-Fattah is a British citizen. By the way, more on that later. It has been a long-standing priority under successive governments to work for his release from detention and to see him reunited with his family in the UK. Now, we have approached Alaa Abd el-Fattah and his family for comment, but he released a public statement which said, looking at the tweets now, the ones that were not completely twisted out of their meaning, I do understand how shocking and hurtful they are, and for that, I unequivocally apologise. Right, OK, good. I do have some breaking news for you now. The Nigerian president has revealed the names of the two close associates who died in the car crash that involved Anthony Joshua, obviously in Nigeria, earlier on. Naming the two victims, the Nigerian president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, said on X, I have spoken with AJ to personally convey my condolences over the passing of his two close associates, Kevin Lateef Ayodele and Sinna Gami, in the recent accident. Anthony Joshua, the former two-time world heavyweight champion, suffered minor injuries and was taken to hospital. The crash happened on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway at about 11 a.m. local time. Look, we obviously send our very, very best to Anthony Joshua. An unbelievably tragic situation that has claimed the lives of two very, very close and long-standing friends of his, people who've been involved with his career for many years, as I understand it. And when you see the wreckage, which obviously we're not showing you the entirety of it, the idea that he has managed to walk out of that with what we are led to believe are minor injuries at this time anyway, is nothing short of a miracle. So there you go. That's the latest. We'll keep you updated with the Anthony Joshua situation. But let me just tease for you what I've got coming up next. This is potentially anyway, the biggest fraud in American history, and it involves Somali daycare centres. So we're going to talk to you about all of that. But up next, should trans women be banned from women's sports? Nick Kyrgios took on the women's world #1 in tennis yesterday, and it went exactly how you'd expect. That's next.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Join me, Nana Okoye, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Well, the Abraham Accords are a great achievement of Jared and everybody. I mean, it was one of the great achievements. They'll be expanded. Countries are already talking about expanding it, and they'll be expanded fairly quickly. Yeah, please.
Yes, well, welcome back to Patrick Christys tonight. That was President Trump alongside Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Mar-a-Lago just a few minutes ago. We'll bring you some more updates on that throughout the course of the programme. But it is time now for the head-to-head. Well, I don't know if you saw this, but Australian tennis player Nick Kyrgios defeated women's world #1 player Aryna Sabalenka to win the latest Battle of the Sexes tennis exhibition. Now, Kyrgios, the 30-year-old Australian who is currently ranked 671st in the world in the men's tennis category, comfortably beat women's world #1 Sabalenka 6-3, 6-3, despite the female tennis champion holding a number of advantages. So these included a single serve limit, OK, and I think you can probably just about tell it from that picture there, they gave him a smaller court to aim for. So they reduced the size of the court that she was standing in by 9%. And he just absolutely obliterated her. So is this proof, do you think, if proof were needed, that blokes, i.e. trans women, probably shouldn't be in women's sports? Joining us now are the gender-critical campaigner Stephanie Davis-Arai and the LGBTQ+ whatever else rights activist Peter Tatchell. Thank you very much. Stephanie, I'll start with you. What was your takeaway from this Nick Kyrgios-Sabalenka debacle then, in terms of whether or not blokes should be anywhere near women's sports?
Yes, I think you're right. It proves that men shouldn't be in women's sports. I mean, this was a sort of display match, sort of for commercial reasons. It wasn't a serious competition, but you can see Sabalenka's world #1 for the last 2 years, and Kyrgios is, I think he's number 671 in the men's league. And that's a really nice illustration of the advantage that men have competitively over women. It's very, it's very clear. It's what we all know, but it was demonstrated in this match.
Yeah, I mean, Peter, I'll bring you in here. I mean, presumably you think that if Nick Kyrgios put a little dress on and maybe had some form of corrective surgery, then he could actually legitimately compete in the women's category.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You're right. This was a novelty match. It was all about cash, not about sport or talent. There were no trans people in this match. Neither player was trans. So it's no test of the legitimacy or right or wrong of trans people in sport.
But it was a man against a woman, Peter, wasn't it? Which is the point. We
must remember that trans men or trans women who have not been through puberty have no significant advantages, and trans women who have been through puberty but have lowered their testosterone level and taken hormone treatments over a period of time, they will find that they have massive physical changes. Their muscle mass decreases, their bone density decreases, their stamina decreases. So that's why lots of trans athletes have said that once they have transitioned and taken the hormone treatments, their
okay, so the solution is to basically dose kids up then. So that's brilliant. Stephanie, what do you make of what Peter has to say there? I mean, this is what do you make of what he has to say?
Just because a man calls himself trans or calls himself a woman or identifies in a certain way doesn't take away his male advantage. Sport isn't played with identities, it's played with bodies. Male and female bodies are very different. We know, I mean, it's ridiculous to say lowering a testosterone level will take away male advantage over females. It doesn't. You know, in the case of tennis, men have different bodies to women, and there are lots of different ways that men, the male body has an advantage over the female body. In tennis, I would imagine it's greater upper body strength, greater grip, power. And the men's game and the women's game is quite different for that reason. Women can be perhaps more agile, move about more, but men also are faster than women. You know, so all of those advantages will play out in slightly different ways for every different sport. But you don't get rid of those advantages because it's going through puberty that lays down those advantages. It's testosterone during puberty that matters, not your testosterone levels after puberty.
All right, but Peter, can I just bring something else up here? So Nick Kyrgios, who, by the way, I think he's a fabulously entertaining person. I think he's a fantastic tennis player. I've got nothing against him at all, and I'm not giving him any stick or indeed Sabalenka any stick for taking part in this match. I just felt, for me, it proved a certain point about men and women's sports. But he has had catastrophic injuries recently. He's been largely out of action for the last couple of years, pretty much. You know, playing the odd game here and there, plagued by injuries. So it's not just the fact that he's world number 671. Andy was trying to hit a smaller court. Andy was only allowed one serve. He's also been crocked with injuries recently, and he has just steamrolled the women's world number one. There is a difference, Peter, isn't there, between men and women when it comes to sport?
I just want to reiterate that I'm absolutely in favour of fairness in sport, and no athlete, whether they're trans or non-trans, who has an unfair advantage should be allowed to play. But I don't think you heard what I said. A young girl who transitioned, a young man who transitioned to a trans woman before puberty will not have those advantages.
So you're in favour of that then, Peter, just to clarify. You are in favour of giving puberty blockers to kids?
Patrick? Can you let me finish, Patrick? What? After puberty, if they take a combination of reduced testosterone levels and they do the hormone treatments, that will fundamentally change their physique. They won't have the male advantages because their muscle mass, bone density and stamina will significantly decrease. And that is why...
But you're in favour of that?
Let me finish. That's why trans women athletes who have transitioned say that their performance levels fell after transition.
Right. So are you in favour of giving puberty blockers to kids then for the third time?
Am I in favour? Well, if doctors decide that is the appropriate treatment and parents agree, then that's up to the parents and the doctors, not to politicians, you or me.
OK, interesting take. Just final one here, Stephanie. Very quickly, I'm just going to throw a cat amongst the pigeons here. Sorry, just quickly. Because the other angle to this is there's been a lot of talk about equal pay, equal prize money for men and women, hasn't there? And I'm quite keen to get where you are on this, actually, because if you look at that spectacle that we had last night, Nick Kyrgios, steamrolling over the women's world number one, does that not prove that it's right that very often women are paid less than men for their tournaments.
Well, I think that in tennis, there's a different factor there. There's women play 3 sets and men play 5. I think it's a more complicated area. In most sports, the women's game is different to men's. If you look at women's football, it's highly entertaining, it's highly skillful. It doesn't have the power, and sometimes that's quite good that it doesn't actually. It's a different game. And so we need to just assess men's sport and women's sport as for themselves. Peter has just spoken a load of non-scientific nonsense, and I'd just like to say part of what worries me of the trans lobby pushing for puberty blockers for children is for this very reason, so that they can say there's no advantage in sport.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to have to go now. Thank you, though. Thank you. Good head-to-head there. Much appreciated. Hope you both had a lovely Christmas as well. That is the LGBTQ plus whatever else activist Peter Tatchell and the gender-critical campaigner Stephanie Davies-Wright. Now, couldn't let get going without telling you about the latest Great British Giveaway. Here it is.
We want to make the new year your best year yet, with a chance to win our greatest cash prize to date. A simply stunning £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours. Cash to splash on anything you can dream of. Treat the family to that bucket list holiday you've always fancied. Get your dream car you've always wanted. Or just relax, safe in the knowledge that the coming year is on us. £85,000 is the biggest cash prize we've ever given away. It's totally tax-free, which means that every single penny of it will be yours. For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. The winner may be contacted live on GB News, week commencing the 9th of February 2026. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
OK, well, next.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there. Are you after some sunshine this Christmas period? There is some on offer, particularly if you're going to the Canaries. Plenty of sunshine here, but Madeira seeing outbreaks of rain for Tuesday, and brighter skies for Spain and Portugal. Sunny spells here, 1 or 2 showers, but more settled across into Italy, parts of Greece where we'll see showers, some longer spells of rain at times, but particularly mild for the time of year, 15, 16 Celsius. Turning cooler here over the next few days, but increasing amounts of sunshine too.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Good evening, welcome to your latest GB News weather update brought to you from the Met Office. A frosty night to come for much of Scotland, staying dry wherever you are, but there's still a brisk northerly breeze bringing that cold feel. We've got high pressure dominating our weather, that northerly wind moving in around that high pressure, and a cold front will push through the country. That will just introduce clearer skies to much of northern England as well as Scotland throughout this evening. Cloudier skies across Wales, southwestern England as well as parts of Northern Ireland. Here temperatures will be held up above freezing, but it's across much of Scotland where we're expecting a frost by Tuesday morning. So another cold start to the day on Tuesday, but there will be more in the way of sunshine throughout tomorrow. At first, just across many north and western areas, you can see that frost on the screen there. It may last through much of the day on Tuesday. A bit more cloud though as we look further east. A few showers as well moving in off the North Sea, particularly across northeastern areas of England through Tuesday morning. Northern Ireland seeing a fairly dry start to the day. There'll be more in the way of cloud as we look further west through Tuesday morning, and you'll notice here a few showers through the English Channel. Some of these could clip the southwest coast as we head into the afternoon, but it should remain largely dry throughout Tuesday and more in the way of sunshine, particularly as we head into the afternoon. But we hold on to that northerly wind, that cold feel across many eastern areas through much of the day, so it will feel colder than it actually is here, but in the sheltered sunshine, it won't feel too bad. There's more sunshine to come into the rest of the week as well, but it will be a very cold start to New Year's Eve. Quite a widespread frost is expected. That could take much of the day to clear up, but there, as I said, there will be more sunshine. However, a few showers will move into the far north and west of Scotland as we see more unsettled weather and potentially some snowy weather arriving to start 2026. Bye-bye.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. So Somali daycare centres might be responsible for the biggest fraud in American history. Hundreds of millions of dollars. It's a remarkable fraud, actually. And they are alleged to have received hundreds of millions of dollars in taxpayers' money to not look after a single child. Journalist Nick Shirley uploaded an explosive documentary in which he visited some of these supposed childcare centres.
This building alone, Quality Learning Center, is a daycare, yet they spelled learning wrong, and they said leering. This daycare alone in 2025 has received $1.9 million from the government.
Yeah, I mean, they spelled learning wrong. They just called it luring, which is a bit of a red flag. But according to the footage, these centres, which, by the way, there's hundreds of them, appeared to have no children present at all during operating hours, despite receiving millions of pounds of public money.
This is another daycare centre, absolutely no signage, and there's no footprints in the snow of children playing outside. $5 million within the past
5.9 million in 2 years. 5.9 million they received in 2 years. That facility right there.
So he then confronted individuals from a local Somali community about the millions of dollars that these daycare centres are allegedly receiving from the Department of Education and Medicare. Here's what happened.
Yeah, where are the children? It says you have 102 children here, and you got $2.66 million this year in funding, and $2.5 million last year. We're just wondering where the kids are.
Yeah. Hello, we'd like to ask where the money's going.
It's an absolutely astonishing story. By the way, that bloke there posted those clips, that documentary, on X, and it is set to be, quite possibly, the most viewed clip on X ever. That's how big the reach is. The FBI are now investigating this. They think it's happening in loads more states. That's Minnesota. I'm going to be joined now by the Executive Director of Unleash Prosperity, Tim Dosha. Tim, thank you very much. Great to have you on the show. So, look, Somali fraud here might total more than $1 billion. Some of that money is actually believed to have gone to the Islamist terror group al-Shabaab. If you import people from fabulously corrupt countries, you get corruption, don't you, Tim?
Yeah, look, that number is probably going to be higher because what we've seen in that video is just scratching the surface. You know, you always talk about it. You always see it reported. You see those things. But then once you put the video out there and you show it to the entire world, you got to start answering the question. So it's not really a matter of whether or not it's happening. It's just a matter of how much are we going to find out. And the most important part is somebody, preferably Governor Walz, preferably the left wing, going to be held accountable for it.
Yeah, so exactly right. So Tim Walz is in charge in the local area, isn't he, in Minnesota there? Yep. He ran to be vice president. And 480 employees from the Minnesota government have now blown the whistle on him, as they say, ignoring these fraud schemes. This is millions and millions and millions of pounds of taxpayers' money here. Surely he's got to go.
And it's not even this one program. Think about this. This is the fraud. We're talking about potentially $18 billion through the Medicaid program. Medicaid would be the program that helps poor people get health care, helps give them access to child care, helps give them access to things. It's fine. Look, we're all for taking care of people who can't care for themselves. That's fine. But when you get to this level, you start to ask yourself, why is it so successful, this incredible fraud that's happening? And clearly the answer is this is organized, this is coordinated, and if you're into fraud, it's very successful at fraud.
But basically, the US government and the Democrats specifically, especially in Minnesota, have bent over backwards time and time again for a very, very sizable Somali community. And now it appears that the Somali community en masse has been running an unbelievable, potentially plus $1 billion fraud racket, coining that money deliberately from taxpayers. I mean, at some point, are they going to have a conversation about the Somali community, do you think?
Well, it's funny because up until this, they've stood right by them because there's such a huge voting bloc in Minnesota, 100,000, 200,000 voters. By the way, how did they all get into one place? It's all coordinated. It's all organized. It's an incredible thing. You have the one in, one out policy in Britain.
Wow.
Maybe it's one in, 100 in, one out. But the bottom line is they all made it there. And then they all understand that when somebody comes and asks a question like this, they start to say, you're intimidating me, you're a racist, and you're doing this because I'm Somali. And the answer to that is, of course, no, it's not. The answer is we're sick and tired of our taxpayer dollars being squandered in organized corruption from whatever and whoever is doing it. It doesn't matter your skin color, doesn't matter your religion, nothing like that.
No, of course not. No, but Tim, look, thank you very much. Real pleasure to talk to you. It's Tim Dozier from Washington. This story, by the way, is going to run and run and run because there are question marks about whether or not some of this money that's been taxpayer funded has found its way into the pockets for campaign donations for loads of people. There's accusations of rigging elections in 2023.
What about the terrorists? What about the potential terrorists?
Yeah, I mean, actual terrorists.
It makes it way back to Somalia. We can see, also, like you said, al-Shabaab. I mean, it's all over the place. You want money? We got it. Here you go.
Yeah, US taxpayers literally funding Islamist extremism in Somalia. But in 2023, Tim Walz signed the Driver's Licenses for All law, which let anyone, regardless of immigration status, get a driver's license. Then during a House Fraud Committee hearing, Minnesota election officials acknowledged that people could use that driver's license as a form of ID, which would essentially be rigging the vote so that a load of Somalis can vote for him. But we're going to have to go, Tim, I'm afraid. More on this probably tomorrow. Tim Dozier from Washington. Thank you very much. Coming up at 10 p.m, the politicians who failed us by refusing to deport the Egyptian who hates white people and Jews. But next, Victoria Cross heroes have been sidelined by the Imperial War Museum to make way for a trans exhibition. See you in a sec.
I'm Michelle Dewberry. This is Jubes & Co with you.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christys here. GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, DC.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Well, get ready for a load of absolute woke nonsense from the Imperial War Museum, which has faced criticism over a new digital tour, which is accusing it of attempting to reframe history. So it's highlighting LGBTQ plus experiences during wartime whilst neglecting traditional military history. So launched to mark the 25th anniversary of the UK lifting its ban on gay people serving in the armed forces, the tour features personal stories from LGBTQ plus individuals in times of conflict. However, critics claim the museum has actually removed Victoria Cross heroes, once showcased in the world's largest collection of Victoria Cross medals, on its upper floor, after announcing that it was closing the exhibition earlier this year. So basically, the argument is that they have prioritised things like a bloke who once wore a dress in a Japanese prisoner of war camp over Victoria Cross winners. Joining me now, down the line, is the military historian and former defence advisor, Chris Newton. Chris, going to be quite short and sweet this, I'm afraid. Are they prioritising, essentially, the myth, largely, of trans people in the military over actual Victoria Cross winners?
Good evening. Yes, essentially, yes, it coincides with this anniversary, but effectively what they're doing is they're prioritising people's identities over the actions, the actual actions that took place. And if you look at the exhibition regarding Lord Ashcroft and the Victoria Cross, you know, these are the acts of the most supreme bravery that are in the British Armed Forces. So, and that's been cast aside for, I don't know why, for no good reason. And the focus is on who people are as opposed to those acts of bravery, those actions and those events.
According to the Imperial War Museum, it now appears that a bloke who wore a dress in a Japanese prisoner of war camp or a land army worker who identified as male are as brave as Victoria Cross winners.
No, I mean, in those instances, yes, they did, heroic things and so forth. But ultimately, war is about extraordinary people doing extraordinary things, and that's what the Lord Ashcroft exhibition ultimately commemorated, and that's what should have been at the centre of the museum. And it's a shame that that exhibition has closed, and they're now taking on agendas from the radical woke left. Identity, empire, decolonisation, when, as you say, traditional military history should be at the front and centre of this museum, which I respect, which I've studied there, quite a lot. I went into their reading room, for my PhD and so forth. But unfortunately, it's it's spoiling its reputation.
They've also said, can I just say that they are, get this tour, quotes, explores the link between wartime reconstructive surgery and the evolution of transgender healthcare. So you've had your leg blown off, we're going to try and reconstruct it. Oh, that's exactly the same as having gender reassignment surgery. I mean, the leap here is absolutely mental, isn't it?
Yeah, the most important thing about that example is the fact that that surgery was developed in response to the horrific injuries that service personnel sustained during the First World War. Now, the rest of it was a byproduct of all of that, but that's the central thing. That's the most important thing. And what this digital trail does is that it removes that at the centre of these stories and places other things which don't have a direct link to it.
It's ridiculous. I'm very glad, Chris, that there are still people, historians that are as sound as you are out there. So you take care, my good man. It's Chris Newton, military historian, former defence advisor. Right, a spokesperson for the Imperial War Museum said, this year is the 25th anniversary of the UK government decision to lift the ban on LGBT people serving in the military. To mark this anniversary, visitors to our Imperial War Museum, London and North Museums can find out more about these stories. Yay! By scanning a QR code next to exhibits in the galleries. They say they're proud to tell their part in telling those stories. Right, well, next, Sir Keir Starmer and Yvette Cooper, in the last hour or so, have said that they won't deport the Egyptian man who hates white people and Jews. And in the last couple of hours, do you know what he's done? He's gone and liked a Facebook post saying that criticism of him is just a Zionist conspiracy theory. It's absolutely mental, this story. They say they're going to launch an investigation into how the intelligence could have gone wrong. The intelligence has gone wrong in Starmer's head.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good evening, welcome to your latest GB News weather update brought to you from the Met Office. A frosty night to come for much of Scotland, staying dry wherever you are, but there's still a brisk northerly breeze bringing that cold feel. We've got high pressure dominating our weather, that northerly wind moving in around that high pressure, and a cold front will push through the country. That will just introduce clearer skies to much of northern England as well as Scotland throughout this evening. Cloudier skies across Wales, southwestern England as well as parts of Northern Ireland. Here temperatures will be held up above freezing, but it's across much of Scotland where we're expecting a frost by Tuesday morning. So another cold start to the day on Tuesday, but there will be more in the way of sunshine throughout tomorrow. At first, just across many north and western areas, you can see that frost on the screen there. It may last through much of the day on Tuesday. A bit more cloud though as we look further east. A few showers as well moving in off the North Sea, particularly across northeastern areas of England through Tuesday morning. Northern Ireland seeing a fairly dry start to the day. There'll be more in the way of cloud as we look further west through Tuesday morning, and you'll notice here a few showers through the English Channel. Some of these could clip the southwest coast as we head into the afternoon, but it should remain largely dry throughout Tuesday and more in the way of sunshine, particularly as we head into the afternoon. But we hold on to that northerly wind, that cold feel across many eastern areas through much of the day. So it will feel colder than it actually is here, but in the sheltered sunshine, it won't feel too bad. There's more sunshine to come into the rest of the week as well, but it will be a very cold start to New Year's Eve. Quite a widespread frost is expected. That could take much of the day to clear up, but there, as I said, there will be more sunshine. However, a few showers will move into the far north and west of Scotland as we see more unsettled weather and potentially some snowy weather arriving to start 2026. Bye-bye.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
We want to make the new year your best year yet, with a chance to win our greatest cash prize to date. A simply stunning £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours. Treat the family to that bucket list holiday you've always fancied. Get your dream car you've always wanted. Or just relax, safe in the knowledge that the coming year is on us. For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes and Co weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
It's 10 p.m. I'm Patrick Christys. Tonight.
And can I start by raising the case of Alaa Abd.
Yeah.
As the Prime Minister knows and has said, he's a British citizen, jailed for the crime of posting on social media.
Oh, the irony, hey? But Starmer and Cooper say that they won't deport the Egyptian who hates white people and Jews. But in the last couple of hours, he appears to have liked a post saying that criticism of him is a Zionist conspiracy theory and...
waiting for months, years sometimes, for judgments that never come. Will our cases never end, forgotten by the world outside the prison walls?
All the thick, lovey left-wing celebs who campaigned for him need to apologise now. Also, £15.5 billion of taxpayers' money a year on civil servants. Are you a civil servant?
Yeah.
Do you think we get value for money?
No comment.
Taxpayers not have a right to be asking questions? Well, Nigel Farage has vowed to strip the pensions from civil servants who approve asylum claims from known sex offenders. And the front pages are dropping as we speak. The Independent. UK should seek a new EU defence pact to replace Trump. Good. Well, you want to pay more tax for that? Plus, oh, this is good. The New Year's honours list is going to be revealed at 10:30 p.m. I know who's on it, but I'm not allowed to tell you until 10:30 p.m. So the New Year's honours list, we will bring it to you live. But on my panel tonight, we have got the broadcaster Christo Fufas, and we've got journalist and broadcaster Benjamin Butterworth. And look, devastating news this. A car crash in Nigeria has killed two of Anthony Joshua's very close associates. He was in the car, miraculously. He has somehow survived, apparently with relatively minor injuries. But more on that as we get it. And can you tell me what's going on here? Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Look, we just need to get that Egyptian lunatic out of our country. But before that, talking of cringe celebs, do you know that Cynthia Erivo has synesthesia?
Have synesthesia, so I see
that's so cool.
colour with music.
Amazing.
Oh my God.
So what colour is this?
Blue. It's just
Good evening. We need to immediately detain and deport Egyptian so-called activist Alaa Abd el-Fattah. Now, if any of us tweeted what he did, we'd be locked up. He's spoken in the past about shooting white people at random, being openly racist. He's referenced suicide bombings. He's been rampantly anti-Semitic. He's spoken about killing police officers. Now, if he'd have said any of that, but about ethnic minorities, and said it just after the Southport massacre, he'd currently be doing a 5-stretch in Wormwood Scrubs. We also need to strip him of his ridiculous British citizenship. If that man is British, then I am a polka-dot bikini-wearing alien from Mars called Baloo. Here's how he actually reportedly got his British citizenship. El-Fattah was automatically granted British citizenship whilst in an Egyptian prison in 2021 under an immigration law that allows mothers to transmit their UK citizenship to their children even if they are outside Britain. His mother was born in London whilst his grandmother was studying in the UK. Until 2019, applicants using this route were still subject to what's known as a good character test, which presumably El-Fattah would probably have failed because of all of the extremist stuff that he's tweeted. But the law was changed after the Supreme Court ruled that the requirement was incompatible with the ECHR following a legal challenge by a foreign murderer. And Mr. Fattah, therefore, did not sit the test. Every single sentence of that gets more mental, doesn't it? There you go. Another classic from the ECHR there. But here are some politicians who backed him. Nepo baby Foreign Office Minister Hamish Faulkner, the son of a Labour peer, welcomed him, quote, back to Britain. Now, look, I could be wrong about this, but I don't think there's any evidence that he's ever actually been to Britain before. But there is evidence that he tweeted that he is, quote, far from British, and he's also called British people dogs and monkeys. Yvette Cooper's celebrated him being in Britain. I look forward to her husband Ed Balls interviewing her about this on Good Morning Britain. Mastermind himself, David Lammy, he's backed him. Another foreign man that Lammy has let wander out of a prison and onto Britain's streets. And of course, the Prime Minister himself, Sir Keir Starmer, said he was delighted that he's in Britain. Well, you know what Sir Keir Starmer is trying to say now, don't you? That he wasn't aware of his social media posts. Well, I'm not sure I buy that, given the fact that he said this in 2022.
And can I start by raising the case of Alaa Abd el-Fattah?
Yeah.
As the Prime Minister knows and has said, he's a British citizen, jailed for the crime of posting on social media and been imprisoned in Egypt for most of the last 9 years. Yeah. He's been on hunger strike for the last 6 months.
A delicious clip there that not only suggests that Starmer was well aware of El-Fattah's social media presence, but also hilariously shows how he used to think that it was a bad thing that people were locked up for social media posts. The irony. Of course, I'm sure it's just a coincidence that one of the main people who pushed for El-Fattah to be released and to come to Britain is Philippe Sands KC. You might remember him. He's circled in the bottom left of your screen there. He's Keir Starmer's friend, and he's also the same bloke that was the lawyer for Mauritius over the Chagos debacle. Look, what a ridiculous, pathetic excuse it is to say that Starmer wasn't aware of his tweets. He expects us to trust that his government is going to vet, background check and process tens of thousands of illegal fighting-age men who have crossed the English Channel. But his government couldn't do a 10-minute online search to find out if this guy had said anything like, we should randomly shoot white people, or he'd like to use a drone to attack people's weddings. I think the worst one for me, though, is Tory MP Alicia Kearns. She celebrated his release and said that he must be returned home to Brighton. I mean, I have no idea why she was given a safe Tory seat, because from what I can tell, she's basically a woke, wet Liberal Democrat, but she's tried to backtrack now. Those of us who campaigned for Alaa Abd el-Fattah's protection and release as a British citizen plainly were not aware of his grotesque tweets, and at no point had anyone raised them with me until yesterday. I trusted the process to give Alaa citizenship and then supported the campaign for his release. I feel deeply let down and frankly betrayed, having lent my support to his cause, which I now regret. It is wholly improper for British citizens to be detained without due process by foreign states. However, Alaa must unequivocally apologise and make clear he now wholly rejects the hatred and anti-Semitism he expressed, which is so wholly incompatible with British values. OK, let me translate that for you, all right? What she really says here is, I'm sorry that I was so gullible and incompetent. I jumped on a virtue signalling bandwagon, it's backfired, and now I look like a right mug. I didn't bother to do even the most basic bit of due diligence. Neither did anyone working for me. But if this apparently anti-Semitic bloke apologises and says he's changed, then we can all move on. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. But this is a clear example of the uni party, I'm afraid. The Tories are the ones who gave him British citizenship. Well, el-Fattah has actually now taken Alicia Kearns' advice. He's released a statement. I'm going to paraphrase it. He said that some of his comments were taken out of context. He's apologised unequivocally for some of his remarks, and he says that he was a young man at the time and he was angry. OK, so I believe that he was about 32 years old at the time. That's just a year younger than I am now. Jog on, mate. In the last hour or so, Keir Starmer and Yvette Cooper have released statements. They say his posts are abhorrent and there's been a, quote, information failure. I mean, the information failure is literally just that nobody checked his social media accounts. The only intelligence failure is going on inside Keir Starmer's head. How gullible is this guy? How gullible is our Prime Minister? At no point in the last few years did he think, shall someone check this guy's tweets? Just make sure he's not a wrong 'un. No, he saw an ethnic minority locked up abroad and hopped on a lefty human rights bandwagon. He even met his mother in Downing Street, for goodness sake. Look at that, there he is. Or does anyone want to just check his Twitter? I mean, despite admitting that this was an intelligence failure, which, by the way, implies that if they knew then what they know now about this guy, then they wouldn't have let him come to Britain. That's the implication here. If we knew now all of this, we would not let him into Britain. They're refusing to deport him. We are refusing to deport him. The government says that Alaa Abd el-Fattah's posts about killing Zionists are not enough to remove his citizenship. I mean, how do you think the Jewish community feels? That the very top of this Labour government are literally celebrating the fact that that guy's been allowed to come to Britain. Nigel Farage has reported him to counter-terrorism police. Good. The one bonus to come out of this fiasco is basically more than any other single case in living memory, this case highlights the idiocy of our political leaders, the stupidity of left-wing lovey celebrities who supported causes like this, the two-tier nature of what is considered to be hate speech, and the bias of the establishment media. Look at this. The Guardian's front page ran with a story, a very spurious story, about a former school teacher of Nigel Farage saying that he might have been a bit mean to younger boys at school when he was 17 years old. But their diplomatic editor has been doing gushing tweets about a bloke who openly describes himself as a racist and made horrific anti-Semitic comments on social media just a few years ago. You couldn't make this up. You couldn't make it up. Look, I don't care what anyone says. Alaa Abd el-Fattah is not British. He has no business being in Britain. He should be detained and deported, and if his family care about him that much, they can go and live with him somewhere else. Let's get the thoughts of my panel. We are joined by broadcaster Christo Fufas and the journalist Benjamin Butterworth. Right, Christo, I'll start with you. So can I just introduce this, by the way, because in the last hour or so, a couple of hours, el-Fattah has been revealed to have liked a post in which it said that all of this stuff about him negative was just a Zionist conspiracy theory. So he's done his apology, and now there it is. There it is, look, he's bang at it, this guy. It's all, you know, bad. Oh, the Jews are behind this criticism. What the heck is this guy doing in Britain?
Someone remove social media from this man as well. Has he not got someone next to him who could say, get off social media? Look, he's an extremist. I mean, that is absolutely clear. And the failure of this, the 107 parliamentarians that countersigned the letter that was given to David Lammy about all of this, all of those lovey celebrities, the Conservatives that actually gave the citizenship without doing the due diligence as well. And as you're quite right, some of them that have backtracked today. But also, not even that. I mean, I was reading today about how his sister appeared on the Radio 4 Today programme to talk about his plight, speaking about his mother's hunger strike. At that point, we were expected to believe that his mother had been on hunger strike for 149 days. Did no one at the Today programme look at the fact that the longest recorded hunger strike is actually 94 days? His mother would have been dead by that point. But no one looked into it, because when it comes to a particular side that people are on, then I'm afraid that due diligence goes out of the window. Someone like Lucy Connolly, well, then everyone is so vociferous, aren't they? And isn't it funny about how all of these people are now accepting that an apology is apparently OK, and you can draw a line under something after an apology? Well, I seem to remember Lucy Connolly deleting her abhorrent tweet, and her tweet was wrong, but she deleted it and she apologised afterwards. Didn't cut the mustard then, did it?
No. So the latest line out of both Keir Starmer and Yvette Cooper is that they're going to launch an investigation into what was called an information failure. So no one, they say no one, either of them, so the Prime Minister or the Home Secretary, or any of their civil servants working on the case, none of them were aware of anything that this guy has said at all, ever. Do we believe that?
Well, clearly successive civil servants and foreign secretaries have failed to know it. I don't think that if they knew about these tweets, they would have bothered to pursue it or promote it in this way. But there is another point in this, which is that the EU went to give this man a Human Rights Award and then didn't because they were aware of the tweets. So it wasn't as though nobody had noticed. And surely a relatively basic search of this man's history would have brought that up if you were looking to get background information on him. So it really is an information failure, and I think, you know, for that they need to learn the lesson. But were they trying not to look for those problems?
Well, they desperately wanted this guy to be the good guy, didn't they? This is the problem with a lot of these kind of lefty idiots, right? Which is you look at someone like that, and what you see what you want to see. You want to see a poor, oppressed, young ethnic minority man who is being held against his will, who's got human rights campaign written all over him. And then it turns out that if you look at his tweets, he talks about randomly killing white people.
Well, that's the problem as well, is that two things can be true at the same time. You can say, right, actually, the fact that he was being held in Egypt without due process was wrong. But you can also say, well, you know what, though? I need to look at exactly what this kind of person is and the nuance behind all of this before I make my opinion. Because, and again, I keep making this point, but I'm going to return to it. No one did that with Lucy Connolly. No. No one did that. And the difference, by the way, just really quickly, the difference between what you've just described, all of these people with confirmation bias and people like us, is that we can openly say what Lucy Connolly did was wrong, but she was punished differently.
Can I just ask, so the latest government line, and they might move on this, but it doesn't look like it, is that now they know what he's done, and there was an information vacuum, which implies if they knew then what they know now, they wouldn't have let him into Britain. But we know it now, so we know it, right? But it's still not enough to deport him.
Isn't it funny, the amount of information... what was it called again? Information failure, like the information failure about Peter Mandelson, like the information failure about Angela Rayner. There's an awful lot of information failures at crucial points in Downing Street, aren't there? Yeah, from this Mr. Forensic guy. I mean, what a load of old nonsense. I mean, they take us for mugs.
So, Benjamin, you would let him stay in Britain, would you now? Now, despite knowing all of this, what do you think?
Well, I mean, the problem was when he was given UK citizenship in 2021. If he hadn't received that, then this would be far more straightforward to deny him entry at the border. But when someone's got citizenship, you can't just remove it on a tweet. And I suspect that is a principle that you don't want to set, a precedent that you don't wish to have.
Well, what's going to be very interesting now is there are some reports online from journalists who are Middle Eastern, but they live in this country now, who are claiming that their sources told them that Egypt is going to strip him of his citizenship so that we can't send him back. So it looks like Egypt are just going to go, it's your problem now, strip him, and then we have to deal with him. Why can't we just do the same?
I mean, one of the first things to point out is that he was released from prison 3 months ago, so him coming to Britain wasn't some kind of essential part of solving the bit that was, by the looks of it, very wrong, the reason he was in an Egyptian prison. He was released from the Egyptian prison. He didn't need to come here. We didn't owe him anything. But secondly, I mean, you say Nigel Farage reported him to counter-terror police. That sounds like an appropriate thing to do. The things he's posted online surely are worth investigation under hate crime laws or counter-terrorism laws. That should happen. Maybe he'll be prosecuted for that and then revoke him.
Sorry, why not just...
But hang on, you can't think, surely... I mean, the tweets are abhorrent and I don't want to...
Can I just cut you off
in the country.
I would happily send him to Mars.
But hang on, you think that someone could write a disgusting tweet and immediately have their citizenship revoked?
Yeah, someone who's got dual nationality, right? And really, and in his case, he's just not British. I mean, I don't think there's any evidence that he's ever been to Britain. I don't think there's any evidence that I've looked for it. I might be wrong on this. I can't find a single thing anywhere that says he's ever been to Britain, right? So so he's not British. He's not. A passport isn't a passport. I'm sorry, a passport does not make you British. It's about where you were born. It's about your family links. It's about heritage. It's about culture. It's about all of those things. None of which he has. He even says he's not British. So yeah, I do think he should be booted out.
But what you're saying is that without any due process and without any legal judgment, the government should be able to revoke citizenship on a few tweets. Now, I would agree in a scenario in which he's convicted to remove it because he clearly doesn't meet British values. But what you're saying is an incredibly dangerous precedent. Because what if you had a different government and... Maybe I wouldn't mind this, but you would. And someone had said that opposing transgender people in various scenarios should have your citizenship removed. Well, you wouldn't take the same conclusion then, would you?
It is, I think, where, and I never thought these words would come out of my mouth, but where I think you're raising a fair point, Benjamin, God, there's almost sticking in my throat, is that, you know, let's go back to Lucy Connolly. If Lucy Connolly had dual citizenship somewhere, would we have ended up in a situation where she would have ended up being deported for sending something that was stupid and abhorrent, but that she apologised for?
What this guy said is 10 times worse.
It is, and I think there is the distinction, because does it reach the threshold? And there I think you would have to have some sort of due process, because I want to know whether it reaches the threshold for extremism that creates a danger to this country. Now, I would argue it probably does, because if you're calling for the eradication of, or for white people to stop procreating, or for people to be violently killed, you know, an apology after you've been caught is no apology at all, really, is it? I mean, it's sort of like...
And self-evidently not a real apology based on his Facebook behaviour.
Well, exactly. So I think there would need to be some due process to say, right, is this a level of extremism that we wouldn't want in this country? And is there genuine contrition for this? Is there genuine apology? And it doesn't seem there is.
The latest line appears to be, and it's quoted in the Telegraph, appears to be that even with what he said, that is not grounds enough to remove him from Britain. So the message there is you can call for the... Well, from what I interpret on it anyway, the random slaughter of white people who you hate, the murder of Jews, talk about killing police and stuff as well. All of that. You can do that. If you're a foreign national in Britain, you can do that and stay in Britain, apparently.
That's got to be the lesson here, that if you have that kind of extremist rhetoric on your social media and then you are applying to become a British citizen, that is not acceptable.
No.
That is ridiculous that wasn't looked at.
The position of Turkey and Cooper on this is absolutely untenable, right? So they are now saying, we celebrated him coming, whoopsie, we got that wrong. We celebrated an Egyptian lunatic by mistake. Oh, we've all done that, haven't we? Now we realise that it's wrong and abhorrent and he should never have done it, but we can't get rid of him. It's untenable.
And also, could I add to that, and hey-ho, an apology's enough.
And an apology's enough.
Which is
great.
odd.
So the next time someone raises about Nigel Farage maybe saying something when he was 17 years old at school, by the way, you know, they say, well, an apology's enough now, we all have to move on. Anyway, Alaa Abd el-Fattah has said, looking at the tweets now, the ones that were not completely twisted out of their meaning, I do understand how shocking and hurtful they are, and for that, I unequivocally apologise. Well, a government spokesperson has said, Mr el-Fattah is a British citizen. It has been a long-standing priority under successive governments to work for his release released from detention and to see him reunited with his family in the UK. Now, we actually have approached Alaa Abd el-Fattah and some members of his family for comment on this. We are yet to hear back. Time now, though, for the great British giveaway. It's a passport. No, it's not really. It's £85,000 in tax-free cash. Here's how you can be in it to win it.
We want to make the new year your best year yet, with a chance to win our greatest cash prize to date. A simply stunning £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours. Cash to splash on anything you can dream of. Treat the family to that bucket list holiday you've always fancied. Get your dream car you've always wanted. Or just relax, safe in the knowledge that the coming year is on us. £85,000 is the biggest cash prize we've ever given away. It's totally tax-free, which means that every single penny of it will be yours. For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. The winner may be contacted live on GB News, week commencing the 9th of February 2026. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Good luck, everybody. So, coming up, we've got tomorrow's newspaper front pages, and the New Year's Honours list is going to be revealed at 10:30. Ooh.
You on it?
Who's on it? I am not on it. No. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Any of us?
No, there's got to be a joke in there somewhere, but I won't make it. I'll get cancelled. Anyway, next, though, Reform UK have pledged to prosecute civil servants who knowingly allow sex offenders into the UK. Do you support that? It's next.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Martin Daubney, weekdays from 3 p.m.
Well, you're absolutely right. Spot on. I couldn't help feeling that perhaps it was actually just a joke, and they were going to come back in 2 years' time and say, we took you all in. It was, in fact, a joke. Now we're going to produce something more serious, because it's absolutely hilarious and ridiculous. Commercial suicide, I described it as.
Well, the individual behind it is no more. What would you like to see from the brand, presumably not people with asymmetric haircuts in pink dresses with sledgehammers doing precisely zero to do with cars?
Well, again, absolutely, you're spot on. I mean, it's just totally unrelated to cars at all. There wasn't even a car in the advert. Jaguar was built on style, and that brought passion for cars. That's what made them different. I remember many years ago, a Jaguar executive in the States saying to me, people say, I like my Mercedes, but I love my Jaguar. It's all about passion. Style engendered that. That's what we've got to have. We need to see a proper, more traditional, stylish, real Jaguar that can build on the brand and the heritage of the past.
OK, Philip Paulson, I'm going to put you on the spot now. If you're in charge of the next Jaguar advert, what would it look like?
As diametrically opposite and different as it possibly could be from what they produced. I suppose, I mean, I live a little in the past, I admit, although I also think I'm hopefully realistic about the current situation and everything, the present. But I'd like to see the heritage shown. Jaguar were not afraid to talk in the past about their heritage, the Le Mans wins back in the 50s, the E-Type in the 60s. This is what added excitement and luster to the brand.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. So apparently a reform government would prosecute civil servants who knowingly allow foreign sex offenders into the UK. Under Nigel Farage's plans, officials could face up to 2 years in prison under a new criminal offence of dishonesty determining an asylum claim. Well, just last month, a UK asylum caseworker whistleblower told The Telegraph that pressure to clear the backlogs has turned the system into a rushed, under-trained conveyor belt. In fact, they claimed that they were basically told to just wave through people, just wave them through. It also included one Afghan man who was basically charged, I think, with exposing himself in a children's park several times, as well as known rapists, etc. Farage's vow follows reports that they've been doing all they can to cut this 150,000 person backlog down, and that is including things like waving known sex offenders through, giving them asylum. Joining me down the line now is Reform UK Policing and Crime Advisor, Colin Sutton. Colin, thank you very much. OK, so you're going to prosecute the civil service, are you?
Yeah, I think so. This aspect of what the civil service do in terms of the danger it presents to our women and children is something that's a headline grabber, I suppose. But behind it is a real serious problem that if, as I hope, as many people hope, we have a reform government, if Nigel Farage is our Prime Minister, what we cannot have is the will of the public and the will of the people obstructed by the civil service not implementing that policy. And so we're going to have to take measures to make sure that those civil servants do what's expected of them. Their job is to put government policy into place, not to put in the policies they think they would like. And this is one aspect of them. And if we have to criminalise a civil servant willfully acting against government policy, then that may be what it needs.
Yeah, I mean, look, people are going to clutch their pearls over this and say, oh, this is terrible and all. It's like they do when you criticise judges. But actually, it's not a radical notion, I don't think. People face consequences for things they get wrong at work all the time, right? And I think deliberately allowing an Afghan rapist into your country and granting him asylum is the kind of thing you should probably face some consequences for, Colin.
I think many people agree with you, Patrick, and I'm one of them. There's a difference between making a mistake. We're all humans. We all make mistakes in our job and in the things that we do. But if you deliberately take action to frustrate the policy of an elected government, then I think that, it might even be covered by the current laws of misconduct in a public office, possibly. But let's have a separate definable offence for it and make sure that these people who have these jobs, secure jobs, well-paid jobs with good pensions, actually do the job they're paid to do and not the job they'd like to do.
Let me give you a case study here. I wanted to get this right. So this was a whistleblower who worked for the Home Office in the asylum applications process. Now, they came out and they described being reprimanded by their bosses for attempting to deny asylum to an Afghan applicant who had multiple reports of repeated indecent exposures near children's playgrounds, and that was because his sentence was under 12 months. So the bosses here were telling them that they had to approve him, and that if they wouldn't do it, they'll just find someone else to do it. Well, I'm sorry, but if you run a nightclub and you told your bouncers to let in a known drug dealer or a known armed terrorist, and then someone died from a drug overdose or died from a gunshot wound, you would be prosecuted for that. So I suppose the same should apply.
Yeah, I think, look, on day one, the Home Office and indeed all government departments, the people working in them should be told, your job is to implement the policies of this government. That's your job. You do your job, you're fine. If you don't do your job, then you may not have one. And if you deliberately do things to subvert what the government is trying to achieve, guess what? You might be prosecuted.
There's also something, I mean, I was speaking to several really quite high-profile MPs, what, with experience of working in the Home Office, what they say to me is that the psychology and political views of someone who takes a job in the asylum application department, I suppose you could call it that, normally they would be of the view that they are quite open border, you know, they're there to approve. They're there because they're kind of the bleeding heart liberal. But what this could do, this policy from Reform, is you could radically shift that. You could start seeing people, maybe like me, who are inclined to want to say no, who are willing to go into this line of work now. And the threat there, of course, of am I going to get a knock on the door one day and told I'm being prosecuted because I knowingly let a rapist or a paedophile into the country, would probably scare the living daylights out of people enough. It could change the psychology of people who work in our asylum applications process, I think, Colin.
And again, I think it's a problem that's reflected across the whole of institutions and public institutions. There is a crisis in terms of the culture and the attitude there. And what we need to do is to find a way of changing that so that it better reflects the government of the day and indeed the views of the population of the day.
All right. Colin, thank you very much. It's Colin Sutton there, Reform UK Policing and Crime Advisor. Now, look, I will just say that the Home Office would say that, you know, they would deny that they're waving people through. They would deny that there's all of this. They would say, oh, there's no evidence of it, all of this stuff. The government spokesperson has told us as well, civil servants do vital work securing UK borders and processing returns so that foreign national offenders are removed from our streets. Since the government came into power, we've removed nearly 50,000 people with no right to be on British soil, and asylum-related returns are up 27% to the previous year. We will not allow foreign criminals and illegal migrants to exploit our laws. We are reforming human rights laws and replacing the broken appeals system so we can scale up deportations. And yes, the Home Office has said that we take all allegations seriously and are committed to addressing any concerns appropriately. However, we do not accept the characterisations of these concerns as presented. They say that they do their best to safeguard absolutely everybody, and they are changing laws so that individuals convicted of sexual offences can't get asylum in the UK. So there we go. Coming up. Well, yes, it's that time. The New Year's honours list has been released. So when I come back, I'm going to be telling you who's on there. Spoiler alert. Well, not really. Some very surprising names. Stay tuned.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there. Are you after some sunshine this Christmas period? There is some on offer, particularly if you're going to the Canaries. Plenty of sunshine here, but Madeira seeing outbreaks of rain for Tuesday and brighter skies for Spain and Portugal. Sunny spells here, 1 or 2 showers, but more unsettled across into Italy, parts of Greece where we'll see showers, some longer spells of rain at times, but particularly mild for the time of year, 15, 16 Celsius. Turning cooler here over the next few days, but increasing amounts of sunshine too.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Good evening, welcome to your latest GB News weather update brought to you from the Met Office. A frosty night to come for much of Scotland, staying dry wherever you are, but there's still a brisk northerly breeze bringing that cold feel. We've got high pressure dominating our weather, that northerly wind moving in around that high pressure, and a cold front will push through the country. That will just introduce clearer skies to much of northern England as well as Scotland throughout this evening. Cloudier skies across Wales, southwestern England as well as parts of Northern Ireland. Here temperatures will be held up above freezing, but it's across much of Scotland where we're expecting a frost by Tuesday morning. So another cold start to the day on Tuesday, but there will be more in the way of sunshine throughout tomorrow. At first, just across many north and western areas, you can see that frost on the screen there. It may last through much of the day on Tuesday. A bit more cloud though as we look further east. A few showers as well moving in off the North Sea, particularly across northeastern areas of England through Tuesday morning. morning. Northern Ireland seeing a fairly dry start to the day. There'll be more in the way of cloud as we look further west through Tuesday morning, and you'll notice here a few showers through the English Channel. Some of these could clip the southwest coast as we head into the afternoon, but it should remain largely dry throughout Tuesday, and more in the way of sunshine, particularly as we head into the afternoon. But we hold on to that northerly wind, that cold feel across many eastern areas through much of the day. So it will feel colder than it actually is here, but in the sheltered sunshine it won't feel too bad. There's more sunshine to come into the rest of the week as well, but it will be a very cold start to New Year's Eve. Quite a widespread frost is expected. That could take much of the day to clear up, but there, as I said, there will be more sunshine. However, a few showers will move into the far north and west of Scotland as we see more unsettled weather and potentially some snowy weather arriving to start 2026. Bye-bye.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. It's time to reveal the recipients of the New Year's Honours List. No, I'm not on it. It's a disgrace. Anyway, Idris Elba and figure skating supremos Torvill and Dean lead the New Year's Honours List. Idris Elba's got a knighthood. England's victorious women's football team, the Lionesses, and the rugby team as well, they've also been recognised. Elsewhere, the Kumars at number 42 actress, Meera Syal, 64, becomes a dame. Broadcaster Gabby Logan, actor Warwick Davis, and presenter and author Richard Osman were made OBEs. Oh, Wicked star Cynthia Erivo. She's been made an MBE for services to music and drama. Fantastic. Well, football commentator Clive Tilsley, known for his Solskjaer has won it line as Manchester United claimed the 1999 Champions League final, and with it, the best treble ever won, becomes an OBE for services to sports broadcasting and to charity. A woman thought to be the oldest victim of the Horizon IT, that's the post office scandal, I think, isn't it? Is that right? The Horizon IT scandal?
Yeah.
It is, thank you, good. 92-year-old Betty Brown said it was a shocker to have been made an OBE for seeking justice for sub-postmasters. Presumably she means that in a good way. And, arguably most importantly, D-Day veteran Mervyn Kirsch, who's 101, said it was a wonderful thing to be awarded a British Empire Medal for services to Holocaust remembrance and education. So I'd say it's a mixed bag there, Christys.
I think you forgot one as well, actually. Alaa Abd el-Fattah has been made a knight for services to anti-Semitism and British culture. So I think that's really nice. I mean, that is probably the next thing to come out, isn't it? That'll be the next scandal. They had no idea, and they recommended it to the palace.
I think the BBC will have him hosting Bargain Hunt one year, but yes. No, but what do you make of what are the standout ones there for you? I mean, well done, Torvill and Dean.
Torvill and Dean. I mean, actually, I'm quite surprised that's taken so long for Torvill and Dean. I mean, they won in the 1984 Winter Olympics for Ravel's Bolero.
I was going to say this now. Do we think Idris Elba deserves a knighthood?
Well, he's getting it because he set up a charity that's done huge amounts of work and also for tackling knife crime in tough areas.
That's true.
you know, I think that must have been a considerable personal investment.
The Elba Hope Foundation, which supports education, community development and youth empowerment.
No, that's right. That is right. Yes. No, I agree.
But I can't believe it's taken... I think it's an outrage it's taken that long for Torval and Dean to become a Dame and a Sir. For Dancing on Ice alone, they deserved it. But actually, 1984, so how has it taken that
41 years. 42, I suppose.
Yes. Cynthia Erivo.
I mean, I'm sorry, but...
I mean, she is good in Wicked, but is she an MBE?
Is she?
No, I think you're both wrong, actually. She definitely deserves it because, I mean, she's incredibly talented.
Yes.
She's been around for a long time. She's just become more famous in the last 2 years. But also, I think one of the values of this is it's about having sort of ambassadors for Britain, for British industry. Now, we are the second biggest music market in the world after the US. No other country comes close to us. And someone like Cynthia Erivo is exporting... Wicked was filmed in London, and it's exporting that around the whole world.
I mean, you're on shaky ground trying to argue against someone winning for a musical performance on this sofa, Patrick. I will just warn you of that. Though, when you talk about her being an ambassador, I mean, I actually agree that she's brilliant in Wicked, and I think she's a great performer. However, she is absolutely barking mad in interviews, and I'm not sure as an ambassador in that way.
We've got a clip of Cynthia Erivo being, as Christo puts it, not my words, absolutely barking mad.
I had synesthesia, so I see
that's so cool.
colour with music.
Amazing.
Oh my God. So
What colour is this?
Blue. That did turn blue. I don't know why.
I'm so glad you volunteered for that because I was going to ask someone to make a noise.
What colour is this? Oh.
Orange.
Oh my God. Wow. What? What if we all do it together? What color is that?
Can you, if you make
1, 2, 3. Wait, you're moving the note.
You did move the note, so it went from yellow to green.
Oh, yeah.
You can just make that up, can't you? Right, so sing to me.
Sing? What would you like me to sing?
Just anything, I don't care. Anything.
We afford the rights.
Anything, just sing something
cheap.
A note, just sing a note to me.
Colours of the world, spice up your life, every boy and every girl.
It's purple. That's purple, isn't it? Go on, you do something.
I'm not doing anything.
No, just do something.
I can't sing for toffee.
Just hum at me. Hum at me. Bright green.
I don't even know what that is.
That's it, isn't it?
I don't know what...
You at home now, do it. No, at home, wherever you are, if you're listening on the radio, just hum to me now, just collectively. Let's see what I get. Black. It's black. It's black.
Racist.
Right? No. If anything, the opposite, because I've included it. Right? So, there you go. This is the thing, isn't it? This is how nuts it is. Oh, she sees colours when people say, no, you don't. No, you don't.
Well, I think some people call that autism to feel, you know, music when you see colours.
Well,
I don't know what.
I think that's got lawsuit written all over it. So I'm just going to say
an
now
insult.
that I think Cynthia would deny that she's got any kind of mental problem whatsoever. But
I love that. That's the worst thing potentially that could have been said about her tonight.
Also, you've got lawsuit written all over you because I didn't say it's a mental problem and it's not an insult either.
Fine, all right. Well, it's a minefield, the whole thing. Anyway, basically everyone's fine. We didn't mean to offend anyone.
Moving on, I think Matt Lucas has got an MBE as well. Matt Lucas from Little Britain, which is interesting, actually, because it does show that in your past you can, you know, dress up controversially, wearing, in blackface and all of those things, which, by the way, was hilarious, and the context was always quite hilarious of what he did there. But isn't it funny how the rules seem to be different for certain people but not others? That's all I'll say.
That is interesting, actually, yeah, because Matt Lucas has got quite a bit of stick for doing some of the characters out of Airline. Was it?
Yeah, it was called Come Fly With Me, which was hilarious. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
But not available on iPlayer because they consider it too offensive.
Because it was basically racist,
Yeah, but you can't get Little Britain on any of those streaming platforms either. So, but, you know, he has often answered the question about how he wouldn't do those things today. He thinks the time passed.
Well,
and again,
it's the day for apologies, isn't it?
He has, and then he'll like a Facebook post. But he has also been a great ambassador for British entertainment. He's been in so many Hollywood films.
Well, look, no, well done. Well done, everyone. In particular, Mervyn Kirsch as well. 101-year-old, D-Day veteran, done a lot of stuff to raise awareness for the Holocaust as well, and the obviously the devastation of all of that. The only thing I would say is just knight him. He's 101. I think I can't. We've skipped on the auto key now. I think he was an OBE or something like an MBE maybe, but knight him. Knight the guy. Anyway.
So, yeah, because you can't work towards maybe getting that knighthood.
No, just knight him, right? I mean, what else do you have to do? I mean, yeah, anyway, right, OK. Look, we could... He was ordered a British Empire medal, so there we go. That was it. Anyway, right, coming up, we have more... Well, we've got the front pages for you, actually, because we haven't done them yet. So if you want to find out what's in the newspapers tomorrow, you're going to have to, well, hang on a little minute. See you in a sec.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Thank you, Matt. Let's hear now from the King.
This is a season when our thoughts turn to celebrations with our friends and families. In the midst of this festive period, I just wanted to ask you to join me today in finding a special place in your hearts and your minds and prayers for the hundreds of thousands of people across our United Kingdom who receive a cancer diagnosis each year, and for the millions more who love and care for them. I know from my own experience that a cancer diagnosis can feel overwhelming. Yet I also know that early detection is the key that can transform treatment journeys, giving invaluable time to medical teams and to their patients the precious gift of hope. These are gifts we can all help deliver. Throughout my own cancer journey, I've been profoundly moved by what I can only call the community of care that surrounds every cancer patient. The specialists, the nurses, researchers and volunteers who work tirelessly to save and improve lives. But I have also learned something that troubles me deeply. At least 9 million people in our country are not up to date with the cancer screenings available to them. When bowel cancer is caught at the earliest stage, around 9 in 10 people survive for at least 5 years. When diagnosed late, that falls to just 1 in 10. Early diagnosis quite simply saves lives.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
All right, welcome back. Let's give you a first look at tomorrow's newspaper front pages. We start with the Daily Mail. They go with extremist is still welcome in the UK, says Starmer. Their picture stories, Anthony Joshua escaping death by inches in fatal car crash. The Sun lead with it. They say AJ just inches from death. He survives, 2 pals killed. And look, can I just say, it's absolutely, utterly devastating that 2 people who were very close friends, well, anyone, frankly, but they were very close friends to AJ, have sadly died in this horrific way. But how on earth this man survived with what we are led to believe is minor injuries is an utter miracle. The Independent, UK should seek new EU defence pact to replace Trump. Polls, they must have done a poll on it. The Times, solar grants for millions to cut home energy use. Right, OK. So what, taxpayers are going to have to pay for solar panels for people's houses to cut their energy use? Great, so we're paying for that, are we? Fantastic. The Daily Express, fury as Starmer refuses to deport Egyptian, quotes, extremist. The Daily Telegraph, Zionists out to get me, claims extremist. This is the fact that, despite his apology and saying sorry for things he said in the past that are anti-Semitic, he's now apparently literally claiming that the Jews are behind a conspiracy theory to get him out. So it's not like he's learned his lesson. It's almost like he shouldn't really be here, isn't it? But The Guardian, 1 in 3 believe that Britishness is dependent on being in the UK, being born in the UK. Yeah, well, it is. I'm surprised the number isn't higher, to be honest with you. Of course it is. So that's The Guardian. We also got the iPaper, have we? Pride of England, Lionesses lead the New Year's honours list. Well done, fantastic. They've got their own tube line. Now they've got the honours. Well done. Go on, Christys, what are you saying?
Well, no, there's a really interesting line, and we'll probably explore it more in the next hour, about those in the Telegraph who have not got honours. So, for instance, Rory McIlroy snubbed after an intervention
Represents
by...
Ireland at the Olympics, though, doesn't he, I think, Rory McIlroy? Could be wrong about that, don't at me.
Intervention by tax officials because of some of the HMRC, but also, interestingly, and careful, because you're going to blow a gasket... Controversial figures such as Charlotte Moore, former BBC executive who was partly blamed for the discredited Gaza documentary, and a police chief who blocked the hiring of white British recruits, were rewarded with top honours, both of them. The police chief that blocked white British recruits, top honour, plus Charlotte Moore.
The woman who's just resigned from the BBC?
Top honour. Doesn't say which honour yet.
Are we right in this? She was the former chief executive of...
She was partly blamed on that documentary. I'm not sure whether she was the head of... I don't think she was the head of news. She's not Deborah Turness.
She wasn't... Oh, that's her.
But Charlotte Moore was partly blamed for what happened. And she's got a gong as well.
And the bloke who denied white British people from being recruited by the police?
Yes. So we need to look into what honours they got, but yes, this is the front page of the Telegraph.
That's the BBC's chief content officer. So after the year from hell that the BBC have had, the former chief content officer has been given a gong. Magic. Cosmic.
Yeah, but, I mean, look, one mistake in a career... No, but one mistake in a career of doing many extraordinary and important things, you know, is that a fair way to judge people? Surely what you're saying is a bit cancel culture.
Well, it's not cancel.
It's not giving her a gong, mate. It's not like...
And also, perhaps if this was such an esteemed career, you would not do it the year that had happened.
Yeah,
that would seem to be.
Well, maybe we're being unfair to her on that. I don't know. But I think that police chief who said that basically white people that we shouldn't be recruiting white people. Well, I mean, why the heck are we giving them a gong? What is that? What does that say? We've got today so far. We've spoken about an Egyptian quotes extremist who is allowed to stay in Britain despite basically saying horrific things. The Imperial War Museum has removed a display on 200 Victoria crosses so it can do a display about trans people, and then now we're rewarding people who have... What did I tell you? We're rewarding people who have blocked white people from joining the police.
I told you...
What is this country? What are we? Anyway...
I said it would set you off. Didn't I say it would set him off? Didn't I say it would set you off?
It set me off. I mean, it's ridiculous. Anyway, we're going to have a lot more to come in the next hour where we go right through these papers in much more detail, and there is a lot to go at.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good evening, welcome to your latest GB News weather update brought to you from the Met Office. A frosty night to come for much of Scotland, staying dry wherever you are, but there's still a brisk northerly breeze bringing that cold feel. We've got high pressure dominating our weather, that northerly wind moving in around that high pressure, and a cold front will push through the country. That will just introduce clearer skies to much of northern England as well as Scotland throughout this evening. Cloudier skies across Wales, southwestern England as well as parts of Northern Ireland. Here temperatures will be held up above freezing, but it's across much of Scotland where we're expecting a frost by Tuesday morning. So another cold start to the day on Tuesday, but there will be more in the way of sunshine throughout tomorrow. At first, just across many north and western areas, you can see that frost on the screen there. It may last through much of the day on Tuesday. A bit more cloud though as we look further east. A few showers as well moving in off the North Sea, particularly across northeastern areas of England through Tuesday morning. Northern Ireland seeing a fairly dry start to the day. There'll be more in the way of cloud as we look further west through Tuesday morning, and you'll notice here a few showers through the English Channel. Some of these could clip the southwest coast as we head into the afternoon, but it should remain largely dry throughout Tuesday and more in the way of sunshine, particularly as we head into the afternoon. But we hold on to that northerly wind, that cold feel across many eastern areas through much of the day. So it will feel colder than it actually is here, but in the sheltered sunshine, it won't feel too bad. There's more sunshine to come into the rest of the week as well, but it will be a very cold start to New Year's Eve. Quite a widespread frost is expected. That could take much of the day to clear up, but there, as I said, there will be more sunshine. However, a few showers will move into the far north and west of Scotland as we see more unsettled weather and potentially some snowy weather arriving to start 2026. Bye-bye.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Well, the New Year's Honours list is now out. I'm going to go into top detail on that for you. Idris Elba's got a knighthood. Some rogue people as well, including the head of content, I think, at the BBC, after the year they've had. The weird one out of Wicked as well, which doesn't narrow it down, does it? Also, Keir Starmer refusing to deport the Egyptian extremists has made the front. And Anthony Joshua miraculously surviving what was a deadly car crash in Nigeria.
This is your chance to become our biggest cash prize winner to date. £85,000 in totally tax-free cash could be making its way from our bank account to yours. It would be like having over £7,000 per month extra to play with each month for a whole year. That could be you, safe in the knowledge that 2026 is on us. For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.